You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome to another episode of E-commerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt, and today I'm thrilled to introduce my guest, Parag Mamnani, who's the founder and CEO of a company called Webgility. That's Webgility, Webgility. Now, Parag is a seasoned entrepreneur. He's got 2 decades of experience in the e-commerce industry, and he really has dedicated his whole entire career with building software solutions that empower small businesses, both in retail and in the e-commerce sector. Now, before founding Webgility, Parag managed Amazon's web store development program, and he was really there to help SMBs really grow within the marketplace by engaging and onboarding top developers and even enterprise accounts. Now, Webgility, which is Parag's brainchild, really has become a game changer for more than 20,000 businesses. He's processed over 87 million transactions annually, so it's quite a business. It's incredibly at scale. The company's innovative platform, which I've highly recommended all my years at Shopify, really automates accounting and operations for e-commerce businesses seamlessly, integrating with QuickBooks and NetSuite. A lot of these connectors didn't really exist in the past. And thanks to Webgility as the premier connector, it made it possible to connect to NetSuite and to connect to QuickBooks. It really is there to eliminate a lot of the manual data entry that happened or inventory issues and the accounting errors and all that, a proper sync between the two systems. But today's episode, I really want to explore AI. As we all know, it's a massively hot topic. It really is reshaping the e-commerce landscape for a lot of D2C brands, and there's so much application for AI. And today, we're going to debunk some of these common myths about AI and e-commerce. I want to dig into and discuss some of the strategies about what businesses can do to thrive with AI in this current environment. I'm also going to learn a little bit about Shopify stores and then how the exact application and how this new kind of AI is just getting out of beta now and how it's there to really sharpen the competitive advantage for Shopify powered brands. And finally, I'm very excited to have Parag just talk a little bit about his unique perspective on the challenges that brands are facing about wanting to adopt AI. Because I think it's a big challenge right now where people know they need it, but they're a little bit scared to want to implement it. And I think he has a really interesting, I listened to a few YouTube videos before recording, and he does have a very practical approach about how to overcome a lot of these hurdles. Parag, welcome to E-commerce Fastlane.
Hi, Steve.
To kick things off, could you share the inspiration behind Webgility and the unique value your platform brings to the e-commerce ecosystem, like particularly for Shopify-powered brands?
First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm a big fan and really appreciate all you're doing to help e-commerce brands on Shopify. You know, the inspiration behind Webgility was really through my experience building an agency. I helped so many e-commerce brands launch online, and I could see firsthand the problem they were facing of getting all their financials right and figuring out how to close their books. I also then went to work at Amazon where I could see thousands of merchants. And, one of the top requests in the platform was really, how do I get all of my e-commerce data properly integrated into my financial system? And fast forward today, especially as more and more brands are becoming omnichannel, data is incredibly fragmented. So it's really important to have a robust, error-free system that can help keep all your data in sync, can make sure your inventory is accurate, can make sure your financials are always up to date, and ultimately really make it easy for you to close your books at the end of the month and get visibility into what your real profitability is so you can manage your cash and really grow your business.
Now, your experience at the Amazon's web store development program must have provided a lot of valuable insights for you while at that position. So how did that role shape your vision for Webgility, and its approach to serving small businesses in the e-commerce sector?
Yeah, like I said, working at Amazon, helping thousands of merchants, kind of seeing their experience on the Amazon Web Store platform. Also, talking to lots of developers who are helping these merchants get onboarded and figure out what their back office needs to look like. You could clearly see that there was a massive pain point across the merchant base, and there were not really great solutions out there. Lots of merchants struggling to build these custom, very expensive solutions to keep all of their systems in sync. Most importantly, when you think about QuickBooks, right, it's the system of record. And especially as merchants were expanding to more channels, it was getting really hard to keep all of that data in sync and up to date. Also, when you look at Amazon as a platform, it obviously gives you an order stream, but you get this really complicated settlement report at the end of your settlement period, which is typically every 2 weeks. And now merchants have to really figure out what the heck is inside that report because they made a ton of revenue during that time, but then their net deposit looks to be very, very different. So really kind of demystifying all of the information that's in your settlement report was also a massive pain point. So absolutely, being at Amazon and looking at how the merchants were evolving, the ecosystem was evolving, was definitely very insightful. And really designing the system to scale and thinking about how merchants would be able to expand to multiple channels has been part of our core strategy from day one. And it's really helped us because now we can serve merchants and have many on our platform that, sell on 20 plus channels across different geographies.
Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, AI is massively hot and brands definitely want to implement it any way they can to improve efficiencies and just kind of grow and scale their businesses through customer service and through inventory and forecasting and connectors and recommendations and analytics and data. There's so many applications for it. Even the store itself and creating images and creating product listings. There's so much marketing. Just insane what's out there right now. And so I watched another video that you've produced recently too. And I want you to elaborate with my listeners right now about specific ways that Webgility's kind of AI-powered solutions really are leveling the playing field, so to speak, for these smaller kind of e-commerce businesses.
Yeah, listen, I'm really excited about AI and all that it can do, but I think there's also just a lot of hype and there's a lot of excitement around it, but not a lot of clarity around how small businesses can really put it to work in their business. And so when we started looking at this technology as a team, what we really felt is, there's tons of solutions already now in the marketplace that help you optimize your listings. They can, generate new content and images. But really at the heart of it, we wanted to really look at how can we help small businesses leverage AI to cut their costs? How can we help them really automate their operations? And from day one, it's been all about, Webgility has been all about helping small businesses win. And now with the help of AI technology, what we can do is help these small businesses really transform their operations. So the first massive change we see happening with the help of AI is this transformation from these dashboards with lots and lots of reports to really a chat interface. Businesses are going to get more and more comfortable. Users are going to get really comfortable interacting with AI assistants. And so we just recently launched our Webgility AI Assistant. And what it does is really help you get answers quickly about your business. So questions like, who are my top customers? What was my revenue this past month? All the questions that you really want to ask of your dashboards and reports. I think businesses will get comfortable really asking that through an interface. So our AI solution helps you answer those basic questions about your business. And over time, of course, it's only going to get even more intelligent. I think the second big thing is, what actions can the AI agent actually take for you? So most commonly our customers really use our solution to post all their transactions to QuickBooks or sync their inventory, make sure nothing's out of sync across their different sales channels. So these are all the actions that our AI assistant will be just able to automate. And it's in early beta right now, but looking ahead, where I see the third kind of real key value is in predictions. So as we build our solution further, we are going to provide more predictions based on what's happened historically in the business and ultimately be able to give more unique insights and help business owner forecast what's coming. And that's going to really give these small businesses the edge that they've not had before.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Can you share an example of how Webgility's AI has significantly reduced manual work for one of your clients? I just would like to understand the impact that your software is having on their business.
Yeah, that's a really easy one, Steve. I mean, we're seeing every day since the launch of our AI assistant, number of customers just logging in, starting a chat agent and telling it to post all the transactions at QuickBooks or ask a simple question of which inventory is out of stock. So really able to take what would happen over multiple clicks and take lots of time to solve and really being able to translate that into a simple prompt has been really transformational for our customers.
Now, one thing I've learned by doing some research today was the ability for your AI to offer actionable insights. So can we talk a little bit about this Webgility AI, how it analyzes data and how it offers strategic recommendations for these Shopify powered businesses that might not otherwise be discovered on their own?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. So first of all, I think about recommendations from kind of two lenses. First, it's what do we understand about the brand's data that we can inform and recommend on in terms of what's going to happen in the future. The second aspect is what can we learn about the way that they're running their operations, how frequently they're posting transactions, how many channels they sell on, how often their inventory goes out of stock, like actions that they're taking manually or having to come back and do again and again. So our AI assistant today, I would say it's in just the early stages of training. We are first and foremost analyzing what's happening with the merchant's data. We are looking at their historical transactions. We're looking at out of stocks. And over time, we're going to be delivering automated recommendations around inventory forecasting, for example. And we're also going to be telling them about what's happening with certain channels, certain products that might be low in profitability or, they're at the risk of overselling. So as we spend some time analyzing their data, our assistant will start to make the data recommendations. Number two, on the actions, this is what I'm really excited about because as we see users interact with the assistant, we're capturing all of those interactions and our assistant is going to learn over time what are most common things that they're doing with the agents. So even the assistant itself is getting more and more powerful so that it can provide recommendations for what to automate. So even without having to say log in the future, it can perform automated syncs for them behind the scenes.
Now, customer acquisition and retention certainly are top priorities for most e-commerce businesses. And I think you're in a very unique vantage point. Just number one, with your tenure and the fact that you really do work with smaller businesses that are really trying to grow and scale or improve their efficiencies. And so what proven strategies would you recommend, maybe from an acquisition side and a retention side? What would you recommend for these Shopify brands? They really want to enhance this lifetime value. They really want to foster kind of long-term loyalty with their raving fans.
Boy, what a difficult time it is for brands to find channels for growth. Obviously, as more and more opportunities are out there to promote your products, there's also just such a tremendous amount of competition. What I've seen, I would say, for small businesses and brands that are just growing is they're really leaning into their own brand and create it aspects and what really makes them unique. I find that brands that really lean in there and try to understand the why behind their business and really talk about it, that creative energy really attracts buyers and helps you really differentiate yourself in the crowd. And then the second aspect I would say is really understanding your buyer personas, really understanding the demographic of your buyers so that you can create a community. Find ways to really engage your buyers and understand what their likes and preferences are. I think that's the second thing in terms of community building that I think is most effective in both reducing your customer acquisition costs because you get a lot more word of mouth through that channel or through that strategy, but also really create higher retention and repeat buyers. And then the third I would say is to be able to really increase your lifetime value and create more loyalty, you also really need to understand your data, right? Like you got to have a really strong sense of what your costs are across your different channels, not only understanding, it's not about acquisition costs for a particular advertising campaign, but really looking at it full stack in terms of what was the cost to procure those items, what was the cost to do the fulfillment for that particular channel, and really understand how you can optimize your profitability. Because when you know that you've got the right margins, it allow you to lean in and spend more on things that work and really cut back spending on the things that don't.
Now, from the beginning of Shopify, I was always recommending Webgility's connector going to QuickBooks. But I also find that a lot of brands struggle with financial management and financial reporting and even like the long-term play of, hey, a potential exit strategy with a VC or a roll-up company, and not having all your ducks in a row financially can be troublesome for a potential acquisition target. And so knowing that, how does Webgility's integration with QuickBooks specifically address these pain points around management and reporting? And then what benefits have your clients experienced based on having this connection available between Shopify and QuickBooks?
So the heart of your question is really, how do businesses use QuickBooks, right? So there's really, I think, two key types of businesses. One are the businesses that use QuickBooks as just a general ledger, as an accounting system to help track all their income, their expenses, and figure out their sales tax liabilities, and they close their books every month. Number two is the set of businesses that use QuickBooks as a financial system of record. They run their inventory out of QuickBooks. They use it for financial reporting. They use it for analysis to understand what's their cash flow like, what's actually happening across different channels. They really use QuickBooks to all of its power. And so Webgility can help both types of businesses. So for the businesses that are just using QuickBooks to close their books every month, just want to know what their high-level summary P&L looks like, we can take their Shopify data as a summary on a daily basis and just contextually put it into the right accounts so they know what their revenue and their Shopify payouts and fees were so that they can close their books. We also line up their sales taxes. So we're taking what would normally be a bookkeeper's task for maybe call it 10 hours, 5 to 10 hours a week, and we could just automate that with a simple click. That's how easy it is to be able to post your summaries into QuickBooks. Alternatively, you have this, the second option, which is where businesses are really using QuickBooks as part of their daily operational workflow. This is where Webgility's powerful engine really comes into effect. We can post transactions near real time as they come in through their Shopify store. We update their inventory. We make sure that inventory levels between QuickBooks and also their other channels are always up to date and in sync. We track each customer detail. We know which item was sold. We can help automate the purchase order experience. So really, clients can get tremendous amount of benefit from using the full breadth of our capabilities. And not only do they save time every month in closing their books, but now on a near real-time basis, they're able to keep all of their systems and data up to date. So they have a real great pulse on inventory. They have a great pulse on their cash flow. And by the way, with the right data, they know exactly where they're making money and where they're not.
So can you share a success story of a Shopify powered brand that maybe faced some challenges, but they found the Webgility solution? I'd just like to understand how it was a pivotal role kind of either in their growth or any efficiency improving. And I'd like to understand maybe were there any key factors that contributed to that success?
Yeah, I've got a lot of stories, but since you asked for one, I'll talk about a customer we actually just recently interacted. Flaunt Cases, they're a really fast growing brand, probably seen a lot of their ads in social media. They've got these amazing cases that for iPhones that even are endorsed and used by a lot of celebrities. Just an amazing brand that's seeing tremendous success. And when they came to us, they were spending about a couple of weeks. I mean, it was taking them 60, 80 hours of time every month to go figure out how to close their books. They did not have a great sense of all of their orders. It was really difficult to do reconciliation of their transactions. And they just had a lot of pretty high order volume. And they'd looked around at quite a few different solutions to automate. But when they came to us, the first most important thing they realized is that we provide white glove onboarding. So we were able to take all of their historic transactional data, really help them get their books cleaned up. Our onboarding team was fantastic in helping them get their transactions syncing correctly into the right accounts. And also just with their sheer volume, we were able to create the right rule sets so they could get their data updated in near real time. And now what was taking them about 40 to 60 hours a month to complete is happening automatically. And whenever they log in, all of their latest transactions are up to date in their QuickBooks.
And as you know, we're rolling into Q4 right now, the holiday season. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this BFCM time is on everybody's mind. Every second email I get today is a webinar or an ebook, some kind of blog post about preparing early. And here's the sort of things you might want to think about to plan for a successful Q4 and holiday season. So I would love to understand from your perspective, if you have any recommendations for brands, how they can prepare and how they can execute and have a very successful BFCM and holiday times.
Yeah, selfishly, hey, I'm going to talk about financials and accounting because I think too much time is spent in the holiday season as brands kind of fumble with keeping their accounts up to date. And then they spend a lot of time at the end of the year or in January playing catch up. So I think that they can get ahead by getting their books and accounts in order, implement a solution like Webgility to get all of your financials automated so that you can really focus on providing a great customer experience. Your data from orders to your inventory to your fees is flowing into QuickBooks seamlessly, and you can be better informed about what's really working for you in the holiday season. You can do better analysis of which products are most profitable and which channels are really being effective. So my top recommendation for brands is to really be prepared. Obviously, I'm sure brands are looking at a lot of different opportunities, whether it be, their fulfillment, getting their inventory in stock. Obviously, Amazon's got deadlines for, sending items into FBA, work with your 3PL. There's just tons of really great pieces of advice out there around fulfillment and things that brands can do. But I'd really double down on financials and making sure your accounts are up to date so you know exactly what's happening and you can generate more profits and really grow your revenues and volume this holiday season.
Now, looking ahead to 2025 and beyond, I can't believe I'm saying 2025 already, but we're in Q4, so that's kind of what's happening. But I would love to understand where Webgility is headed regarding maybe new features or updates or any initiatives. I know obviously AI clearly is your top priority, but I just want to understand, get the warm and fuzzies about where's the platform today and the current problems it's solving and how AI is going to continue to iterate over the next year or two. Just how do you envision the platform just kind of evolving and meeting the current and then the future needs of Shopify businesses?
Absolutely. As we look to 2025, one of the most important trends that we see is this rise of omnichannel and really having an integrated experience across all the channels. And we think brands are going to continue to embrace that. And so it's really going to be important for Webgility and our solutions to continue to support those brands as they expand on multiple channels, go and sell in multiple geographies. So we're continuing to innovate and build more capabilities so that we can support more B2B scenarios, be able to tackle businesses that are expanding their retail footprint, going globally with multiple currency support, and just a lot of different changes also happening behind the scenes in payment methods and fulfillment models. So just supporting the breadth of all the different use cases as brands evolve into 2025. And then the second, I would say, as you mentioned, is really about AI. So not only making our platform more robust and supporting a variety and complexity as these businesses grow and evolve, but it's also really leveraging the power of AI. As I mentioned earlier, we feel that users are going to move towards interaction with AI agents and assistants. So we're leaning in heavily on AI technology, and our AI assistant will continue to evolve. We also expect that users will ask more questions. They'll rely on it to make more recommendations and find insights, be able to provide forecasting and be able to predict the future, and really just take that burden of manual work and reduce complexity and help them understand where they're really making money, what's profitable. So we're investing in across all the different categories, but it's really about making sure that the businesses are fully integrated, that more and more of their business processes are automated, and our technology is providing them the insights to help them grow.
Now, as we wrap up today's episode, are there any key insights or any final thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. In closing, I would just say a couple of things. First of all, 2024, I think, has been the year of efficiency, the year of profitability and optimization. So I really hope that Shopify brands are thinking about their operations, their costs, and really putting software like Webgility to work to cut their costs on bookkeeping, reduce their time in closing books, and really automating their operations. And number two, it's also the year of AI. And so I hope business owners and brands really start to embrace AI solutions. They can really think about AI not just to help them grow their revenue, but also in operations to cut costs. So think about AI as a competitive advantage and start to lean in.
Now, what would you recommend as kind of the next steps for listeners who are kind of ready to learn more about Webgility and how the platform can help their Shopify-powered business?
Yeah, super easy. Just visit webgility.com. We've got tons of great content there, but really just start a chat, request a free trial, schedule a demo, just engage with our e-commerce advisors and they can get you going.
Parag, thanks so much for sharing your insights. It's been a very enlightening episode. I'm like, AI is top of people's minds right now. I appreciate your honesty and your openness and your transparency about the fact that, there's a lot of challenges out there, and, you're over 17 years of experience in this space, highly respected platform, significantly saved a lot of people a lot of time with your connectors, and now branching out into AI and having AI fueled and AI powered kind of recommendations and connections. It's so interesting. My listeners want to learn more. Where do you recommend they go?
Thanks so much, Steve, for having me on the show, and also for all the kind words about Webgility and for the recommendation you've made for Webgility to your clients over the years. Really appreciate that. I hope our conversation today was able to help your audience, and look forward to chatting more in the future. And I can be reached on LinkedIn, Parag Mamnani. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, that's all for today's episode of E-commerce Fastlane. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in on today's episode. This podcast really is all about helping you grow your Shopify store. And we really bring the best minds together in business and operations, really to share the secrets that you can learn so you can take your brand to the next level. Every time you listen, you literally are taking one step towards building an amazing direct-to-consumer brand that you've always dreamed of, or scaled it a little bit further. You know, it really means the world to me that you are investing your time here and you're dedicating yourself to learning and growing. Really is truly inspiring. And I just want to thank you, regardless if you're a beginner or a seasoned pro. I just remember that I'm here for you. I'm cheering for you every step of the way. You know, really your success truly is the heartbeat of this podcast. And we're really here, myself and my team, we're really here to help you in your Shopify journey. Enjoy the rest of the week. And as I always say, keep thriving with Shopify.